Guys, what's up? This is Austin from the Sports Chief, bringing you the Week 8 NASCAR DFS preview at Bristol Motor Speedway, the Food City 500, one of my favorite tracks. If you're a diehard NASCAR fan, more than likely you love Bristol. Wish I could be there tomorrow. I've been there before, and it's an amazing place. It's called the Coliseum, some nicknames, but it's truly a great spectacle of motorsport or sports in general. It's just an amazing facility. But we're pumped up for the Food City 500 this week. It's at 2 o'clock tomorrow. I'm recording this the night before, so for your DFS picks. And I know typically with my DraftKings strategy, I kind of can remember who runs well in the past here at this track. It is kind of a wild card, being that there's so high speeds and bad luck can catch you really quick because it is so, I guess, equipment intensive. It wears your equipment down pretty good. You got to really have a bad fast car. Tenths are a big deal, but even more than tenths, like hundredths and thousandths are very big here at this track. As far as speeds go, they can get around here in 14.7, 8 seconds, so 15-second lap averages, 500 laps. They go around insanely quick. It's going to be interesting, but the new aero package is not going to be used here. It is a newer aero package, but it's not going to be like what we've seen at the mile-and-a-half tracks, being that Bristol's a half-mile track in Thunder Valley in Bristol, Tennessee. So I feel pretty good about DraftKings this week. I'm going to walk you through who my picks are, and we'll see, if I help you out any at all. So let's just go ahead and go straight to the picks here. So qualifying has been a pretty controversial thing in the past weeks, and it's kind of controversial again this week. So a lot of your big name guys won't be starting up that high. Chase Elliott got the pole, of course, which he's a big name, most popular driver. Kyle Busch is the most expensive driver. He's been on a tear so far this year, and if you know anything about Kyle Busch, he's just amazing at Bristol. He's a great driver there, and it's going to be hard not to pick him. He's starting in 17th. You got Brad Keselowski in 12th, amazing. Kevin Harvick in 13th, great. Joe Logano in 7th, that's honestly pretty good, and Kurt Busch in 27th. Kurt used to be the man to pick here. And then Ryan Blaney rounds out your 10K guys. And Ryan Blaney at 3rd. Ryan's he didn't have a good week last week at Texas, but he's been putting on a show this year. So as far as my drivers go here, I like to gauge Bristol a lot by speed, of course, in practices. So looking at practices this week, Kevin Harvick has been very fast. He's been not very top of the speed charts, but he's been hovering around that top 15, top 10 about every practice. His lap averages are really good. Joey Logano has been top 5 almost every practice. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lock in Kevin Harvick. Now, Kevin Harvick historically has been just okay here. He's won at Bristol before. He's not, historically as good as the Busch brothers or, even Kyle Larson for that matter. But nonetheless, he's a very good driver here. I believe he's like 4th or 5th on the average finish chart, so he's still pretty good. Starting in 13th, he's been fast in practice, and I could see him getting to the front pretty quick. My next driver, the thing about Bristol is, years ago, the Bristol of old, you had to start towards the front. It was very hard to pass. That the low line was king, and now they've kind of, they use that high line, but they've got a compound on the low lane that kind of helps cars stick to the bottom a little more. But you're still it's still gonna be a multi-groove track, and the top's probably still gonna be dominant. Not 100% sure, but I feel like it. So be careful when you're picking these picks. And that's why I'm going with Joey Logano at 7th. He's up towards the front. He's been bad fast. I could see him getting up there really quick. The guys that are starting up front, Chase Elliott, William Byron, I could see him falling back a little bit. Paul Menard, those guys, they'll fall back a little bit. So look for Joey Logano to get to the front pretty quick, him and Harvick. They've got very fast cars. So now I've got $6,800 to spend on salary. I know I just took a massive chunk out right there. That I feel very confident. And the thing about Bristol and DraftKings is it's a 500 lap race. You want to have a guy in your lineup. It never fails. There's always one guy at the racetrack that'll lead over 200 and some laps. That is just bonus points. Bonus point heaven. That is amazing. If you can get one of these guys that lead 200 laps, you're probably going to win money unless you just have the worst of luck, which very likely for me. But, I feel like it's Joey Logano and Harvick have been so fast, I could see those cars dominating a race. I want to pick Larson really bad, but he's not been that fast this week. Denny Hamlin's been very fast this week. Jimmy Johnson and Eric Jones have been bad fast. Ricky Stenhouse is just a guy who runs well here. He's got one of the best average finishes here. So there you go. But I'm going to have to go towards the bottom now that I'm at 6,800. None of these guys are worth picking. Greg Alding actually had a pretty good race in the Xfinity Series. Bailey Curry. They just don't have the speed that they need really to finish well here, I don't think. And unless a lot of drivers wreck. Then you got Michael McDowell in 18th. He's starting way too high. Matt Tifton 29th is interesting. I don't know how he's going to do it. I just don't know much about him as far as short tracks go. David Reagan 22nd. I like him starting farther back. Ross Chastain 37th. The premium motor, he gets the most out of it. It says JD, but it's premium motorsports. He could be a pick there. I just don't. I don't know. I don't like the horsepower there. So as far as these drivers go, I do like Daniel Hemrick starting in 26. Daniel Hemrick has been pretty good at Bristol in the Xfinity Series. He's in Richard Childress engines. I like my boy Hemrick here. Kannapolis native. I feel very confident. He's not been that fast in practice either, but he's just a guy that he's a smart racer, and I feel like he'll be hanging around. Bristol takes a lot of patience, and I think he's got it. So he's going to be my bargain pick there. I mean, Bubba Wallace is pretty good. Chris Buescher is always good, at multiple tracks. And when I was making this lineup, I kind of went really quick here. So you got Ryan Preece in 30th. That's amazing for Ryan Preece. He won the Xfinity race here last year in a Joe Gibbs racing machine. But Ryan Preece is a modified driver, a former modified driver who's used to those high speeds, and this kind of fits his style. He's used to the powerful, fast cars, coming up, and I think he'll run well. I think he'll surprise some people. So I'm going with Ryan Preece in 30th. $6,500. I don't think he'll be picked that much. He might be. I don't think Daniel Hemrick will be either. So I'm hoping for, maybe 10 or 11% ownership, roughly. I could be totally off base there, but I hope I'm missing something there. I'm hoping in a tournament. These are tournament strategies, so hopefully I'm hitting something there. And I saw Matt DiBenedetto in 21st. Now, typically I make my lineups. I always wait till after all the practices are done with to see who I want to go with. And Matt DiBenedetto, I saw on Twitter, he said, man, we got a fast car. He's been very fast. He's been top 15 speeds everywhere. He's starting 21st. I think DiBenedetto could get a top 10, and he's finished like 5th here before in a BK racing car. I think this is just a track that fits his style as well. And now I've got $8,100 to spend, so I've got one driver left. So who's it going to be? And like I was telling you a minute ago, Jimmy Johnson, Eric Jones, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr., all three have been great at Bristol Motor Speedway. 2 years ago, Eric Jones led 250-some laps in the 77 Barney Visser machine for Furniture Row Racing. Jimmy Johnson's been bad fast in practice. Ricky Stenhouse, his speeds didn't really come out to me, so I'm probably going to cut him off the list. I'm going to go with 7-time champion Jimmy Johnson. I think Eric Jones will be picked quite a bit, and Jimmy Johnson's just been in such a slump. I could even see Jimmy winning at Bristol. Dare I say maybe his last win. But I think that this is a track that he loves those concrete tracks. He's just great at them. And I'm going with that route. So I'm going to pick Jimmy Johnson. I think he's just a better tournament play if he can get a top 5. Eric Jones will probably run well. It's not like he's a terrible pick. I think if you don't go with the Harvick-Logano kind of strategy, Eric Jones is probably going to be in your lineup. So anyway, let's just clean this up here a little bit. Going with Kevin Harvick, potential race winner. He's one of my picks. Joey Logano as well. Then I'm going to go with Jimmy Johnson. I think he'll win the race too. And then I'm going to go with my guys who I think will just be placing very well, place better than where they're starting, which is the Benedetto, Ryan Preece, and then rounding out my lineup is Daniel Hemrick. So, hope that was gave you some information there. Good information. We'll see how it goes here at the Food City 500. I'll be watching. I wish I was there. It's a great place to watch a race. But I'll be tuning into this one. 500 laps. It's just so amazing at Bristol. Good luck to everybody that's doing the Week 8 DFS previews. Check us out on www.thesportschief.com. Check us out on Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. We also have some WrestleMania stuff coming up. We got a scorecard, I believe, on our website. We cover a little bit of everything. So whatever you like or something, if there's something you want us to kind of talk about or something, whatever, just hit us up. Talk some comments. Ask me on Twitter for the Sports Chief. We'll be sure to respond to you. Hope you have a great night and tune in to Sunday's edition of the Food City 500. Thanks. Have a good night.